morning. I'm Katy Galton, the nutrition educator at the Interfaith Food Pantry, and welcome to our Healthy Choices Kitchen. Today I'm going to be making two recipes. They're very different from each other, but they both share one major ingredient. And it's probably an ingredient that you have on your pantry shelf at home. If you don't, you certainly should. The common ingredient, what I'm going to be using, are black beans. Black beans all beans are just a great food to have on your pantry. They're very versatile, and as you can see, I'm going to be using one to make an appetizer, and one to be going to be using them to also make a dessert. So let me get started with the appetizer. It's going to be a black bean dip. Now we have Super Bowl weekend coming up this weekend, so this would be a great addition to your Super Bowl party. It's tasty, but while you're eating, you're also really getting some of those benefits from the beans, the protein, the fiber, good stuff. So I'm going to start with my black beans, which I have, as you can see, I have rinsed them. I poured them in here. I drained all of that liquid off, and I ran them under the water to just rinse them off. And I'm going to be putting them in here. All I'm going to be doing is mashing them. I found a just old-fashioned basic potato masher works really great at mashing beans. You just have to use a little bit of muscles and just get them mashed up. So the beans, as I mentioned, rinsing them is a great option or great thing to do because you really can reduce the amount of sodium that's in the beans. So they've actually done studies on that, and rinsing them takes away or reduces the sodium by between 30 and 40%. So that's really significant. Those are getting mashed a little bit. The other thing you can do to reduce the sodium or to control the sodium is be sure and check the label to see how much sodium is in the beans. There's really a wide variability between different brands. I found one brand that had 160 milligrams of sodium per half a cup. I found another very popular brand, it had 360 per half cup. So be a label reader to get the best things for you. All right, so you can see how gradually that's getting mixed up. We're starting to see the inside of the beans. And if you don't have a potato masher, you can also use just a fork. A fork really works well too. I'll shift to my fork just so you can see that. The fork you can get down into the beans. And we just want to get them mashed a little bit. Mashing beans is another way you can make your own refried beans. Mash them and add your own seasonings to them, and then you can control the sodium in that too, and fat. So we're getting close with beans. When we're finished mashing these, all we're going to do is add some basic ingredients to it, and then we're going to have a delicious dip. So I think one more mash, and we'll be ready to add our other ingredients to this. Beans are so versatile. When you have some in your pantry, you can pull them off. You can add them to salads. You can make salads that include black beans, corn, tomatoes, all kinds of things you can do with them. So we have our beans. Just going to add the other ingredients that are going to give the beans some flavor now. So I'm using garlic. Now, I've tried to chop these in or mince these into very little pieces. If you don't want to use fresh garlic, as always, the garlic powder is a good alternative if you have that. I'm going to put a little bit of onion in. I'm going to put a little bit of seasoning in. I'm going to use cumin. If you wanted to add a little bit of chili powder, if you wanted to add some oregano, you could do that. My next ingredient is some Greek yogurt. I'm using that as an alternative to sour cream. It's nice and thick like the sour cream, but it's going to give you some protein and some calcium along with it. And you'd never know that you didn't have sour cream if you like using sour cream. The next thing is optional, of course, is some cilantro. Some people love cilantro. Some people don't like cilantro at all. So do it to your taste. I've chopped a little bit of cilantro. And then my last ingredient is some lime juice. So I'm just going to take my fork, put it into the lime, squeeze my lime, move that fork back and forth. Just need 2 tablespoons, so let's see how much I get. This is 2 tablespoons here. Let's see. I just need a little bit more, so we'll go to that next half. Let's get a little bit more. If you don't have fresh lime juice, that's okay. You can leave it out. Last time I made this, I didn't have it, but what I did do was I added just a little bit of vinegar to it, and that gives it just a little bit of that acid that perks it up a little bit. Cider vinegar would be a good one. So I'm just going to put this in. And then all we need to do is stir this around. It's just going to come together as a nice, easy dip. A great addition for your Super Bowl snacks. I'm going to be using fresh vegetables to dip into it. I have some carrot sticks, some celery sticks, some red pepper strips, but you can see, there we go. That all mixed up. And then I'm going to transfer it to my bowl with dip. Put it in. Looks good. Put it with my fresh vegetables. And then you have a beautiful dip. You have a healthy dip. And the other thing, it's going to be satisfying. It's going to fill you up. So you're going to feel that you've really had something that's good for you and fills you up with all the vitamins and minerals and antioxidants from all those vegetables and the beans themselves. So enjoy it. Our second recipe with black beans is totally different from our dip that we just made. This recipe is for black bean brownies, so a nice dessert treat. But by using the black beans, by using the black beans in the brownies, along with something that tastes delicious and sweet and chocolatey, you're going to get the protein and fiber from the black beans as well. So this is simple to make. Everything just goes into the blender. So we're going to start with our black beans. Once again, I've rinsed them and drained them. Put them in. Whoops, have a runaway black bean there. I'm going to add some eggs, which I have already cracked into the bowl. I always like to crack them into a separate bowl instead of directly in here. That way I can just make sure that they're good. Also, if you get some little pieces of shell, you can get those out. So I'm just going to whisk those lightly and add them to our blender with our black beans. Then I'm going to add a little bit of canola oil. This is actually kind of a heart-healthy recipe. The beans are heart-healthy with that good source of fiber that they have. We're not adding any saturated fats. We're using the canola oil, which is a good healthy fat. And the next ingredient is just some unsweetened cocoa. Again, no fat in that. It's just the dry cocoa powder. That's going to go in. Going to put in just a little pinch of salt, not much. Literally just, a pinch, get a little bit in there. I'm going to put in some brown sugars. That's going to be my sweetener. and some vanilla is going to go in there. And then the other ingredient is some chocolate chips, if you'd like to add them. That's up to you. I'm not going to add the chocolate chips in right now, because if I do, they'll get all ground up and you won't even know they were in there at the end. I'm going to save those. I'm going to sprinkle those on top. So I'm going to just get my blender going here. Just want this to be smooth. Just let that go. Just want to check it. See that that's, oh yeah, that was quick. Just going to give it one more quick whirl in the blender. Okay. I have an 8-inch pan, which I have sprayed with spray just to grease it lightly. If you don't have that, of course, you can just put some canola oil on a paper towel and grease it. And then all I'm going to do is pour this into the pan. See how quick that was? Hardly took any time at all. Pour it in, scrape it out. And then I'm just going to sprinkle my chocolate chips on top. The last time I made this, I mixed the chocolate chips in to the batter, but I found that they sunk to the bottom. So I'm just going to put them on the top, and that gives you a nice finish. If you wanted to add some nuts to this too, that would be a nice addition. These come out to be a fudgy brownie, very fudgy. So this just goes into the oven for about 25 minutes. I'm just going to stick it in. These are some brownies that I made previously. This is what they come out like. So we have Super Bowl with a great appetizer, followed the very next day this year by Valentine's Day. So this would make a wonderful treat for Valentine's Day. Nice, fudgy black bean brownies. I've found that unless you tell people, they really usually don't know that there's black beans in there. So try it and see what your family and friends think about it. I'm sure they'll like them. So remember, keep those beans stocked in your pantry. Throw them in soup, throw them in quesadillas, throw them in salads. Use them in such a wide variety of ways. And use a variety, have a different variety of beans. Have cannellini beans, kidney beans, pinto beans, and you'll find a lot of different ways you can enjoy them.